All right. So, hello, everybody here on Facebook and on Zoom. We're having some technical difficulties, which is why on Facebook Anna and I are cramped together in our little screen here. But so we're going to look back and forth between the two different cameras because our sharing's not working. So you guys know me. I'm Sarah, head magic maker here at the Sisters Enchanted. We're on day 5 of Expedition to Soul. And remember that everything that we're doing over these 7 days is really individual to you, whatever it is that comes up for you and you feel like is the message for you during this time. And it's a perfect time to do this as we are coming up on the equinox. We're in the Yuletide season, and Yuletide, it's like Yuletide implies a season. I guess I don't need to add the season. But we are inching up on the end of the calendar year, end of a decade, all of this good stuff. So we're in a waning moon period. It's a great time to be doing all of this reflective sort of work. Now, on day 1 of our expedition, we kind of set out and looked at different things that might come up for us. We investigated this idea of maybe going on a quest to self, and just thought about it. Like, do I want to do this? Am I ready for it? And we thought about things that might be bumps in the road for us. I'm going to try to give us more space so that Anna and I aren't there. That's a little better. Things that might kind of play out as bumps in the road for us. On day 2, we continued to move through here. We had a tarot spread for you. We moved into creating kind of a statement, a tangible, like, I am in for my quest. Here's my thing. I'm getting all my tools and I'm going for it. And so many people shared what they did, whether that was just go outside, or some people lit candles, some people created body scrubs, some people took baths with crystal grids and all sorts of amazing stuff. Yesterday, we assembled the allies, and you had a meditation you could do and kind of calling in your past, present, and future self, and maybe even making a representation of that. So, hi guys on Facebook. So it's been a really, I think, cool 4 days so far. It's been really great watching everybody and seeing what it is that you post. And we've seen a couple people share too that you've not started yet, and that's totally fine. You can jump in today, you can jump in tomorrow. It's all good. And I think that even just listening and kind of thinking through some of the prompts kind of will create a little bit of change for you, because you're going to be aware of some of the stuff that is coming up for you. If you start to think like, oh, I don't know if this feels right to me, or my intuition might be speaking, just hearing what we're doing, just following the posts of other people might kind of kindle that flame for you. So it's been really cool, and I love seeing everybody share on Instagram too. So anybody who's watching this on the replay that we send out later on today, in the future, all the future people, thank you for sharing on Instagram also. I know Anna's been sharing those out as she sees them over on our Instagram stories. So if you're not following us there, make sure to follow us at _sisters_enchanted and follow along there also. So today, day 5 of Expedition to Soul, we enter the cave. Now, every good quest has a moment where the quester is like, I think I might need to go home. And they have to choose, do I battle forward, do I push through, or do I back out, do I give up? Now, we've assembled our allies, so we have all of this energy, all these versions of ourselves together, and we can make it through the darkness, but we need to kind of be aware of it in this case. So we're looking at our cave as our moon sign, and I'm really excited. I have Anna. She's my real life sister. She is the other sister behind the Sisters Enchanted, and one of our astrologers. She teaches in our Expedition Astrology program, along with our head master of astrology, Nick. So Anna's going to talk with us today about moon signs a little bit. Welcome Anna into Expedition to Soul.
Hello.
I know we posted in our Facebook group your Oracle versus Tarot cards video recently. Shared that out again. So some of you may be familiar with Anna, and if you follow us on Instagram, you're probably used to seeing Anna's face because you see her in our Instagram stories pulling cards pretty frequently. So Anna, firstly here, what is your moon sign?
So your moon sign is the sign that your moon was in when you were born. So most people know about what their sun sign is, which is their zodiac sign. So if you're like, oh, I was born in, December, most of December, depends on the dates, but you'll be like, I'm a Sagittarius, or you'll be a Capricorn. And so people are really familiar with that, and people don't realize that sometimes they do have a moon sign, and a moon sign is what you need to emotionally feel supported. It's kind of like where we fall to when we're feeling emotional, or when we're backed into a corner, or what we really need to feel supported in an emotional way, and that's your moon sign. So everybody has a moon, and it's in a sign in your astrology chart.
Yeah, and so that's why we're looking at this as your cave, because it being your sun is your forward-facing stuff. It's what people see about you. So, me, for example, I'm a Sagittarius. Yeah, I'm not Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius moon. I'm a Sagittarius sun, and no one is going to look at me that knows me personally and be like, that girl no one's going to say she has no energy, she has no drive, whatever. If you explain to Sagittarius, people that know me are going to be like, that's Sarah. And then if you explain, though, what an Aquarius moon is, only the people who really know me probably are going to be like, oh, that's Sarah, because it's that part of you that's really in there that many of us might not even want to be like, no, that's not me. I would never do that.
Right.
But, like, it is you, and you do that. And it's that mirror we have to face, and that's why it's our cave, because if we don't see these things about ourselves, we don't face them, we can't actually hear what we need to hear, and we can't actually grow and improve and change. And your moon sign's not a bad thing by any means. It's not even like a light and dark. It's just that inner part that really, it's like Anna said, your emotion. It's kind of how you react defensively. Yeah, it's not, you're not consciously acting from that place. It's just your knee-jerk kind of reaction. And it also speaks to how you want to be nurtured, though, too, because that's subconscious also. Like, make me feel cozy. So it's the cave, for sure.
Well, one of my favorite things, kind of stories to tell about the moon sign and how impactful it can be, is that a few years ago now that I did do a reading on somebody, and they had always thought that because they were an Aries, that they were... they got angry pretty easy, or they had a short temper. They're always like, oh, it's just because I'm an Aries and I'm so fiery. But as we went through their chart, I talked to them about their Virgo moon and where it was in their chart. And I was like, when you get upset, it's because your family's not supporting you in, like, having a tidy house. Not even, like, a super clean house, but just, like, they're not putting the dishes in the sink, or they're not throwing away their napkin after dinner. And that's what makes you, like, frustrated, because you just want things to be neat and tidy and orderly, and that's what causes you to have a reaction. And she's like, you're right, the only time that I'm, like, really short in temper is at home when nobody helps me. And she was like, all this time I thought I gave myself this bad rap for being an Aries, but in reality it was my Virgo moon not being supported that made me so upset. And so she was able to change her perception on her sun sign and start nurturing that moon sign a little bit better because of the understanding that came through with it.
Yeah. All right, so what we are going to go through today is kind of just a really, really broad stroke about moon signs. Now, there's obviously more that plays into everything astrology, where this is in your chart exactly, what other things are touching it. So this is super broad strokes. If it doesn't sound like you, if you're like, hey, that's my moon sign, but it doesn't sound like me, then that's totally fine, because astrology is like a really big puzzle, and you can have this beautiful puzzle, but if you're missing that one piece, it's just not quite the same. So if there might be something happening where you're like, that doesn't sound like me, and there's a reason why, and there's many people that don't relate even to their sun sign, and it's because other stuff's happening that's kind of like taking eyes off that. So these are totally broad strokes, and we're looking at this really from that perspective of that cave that we have to move through. So while there are lots of different pieces of information, we're going to give you like just a couple keywords and think about what might be in our way of hearing what we need to hear for ourselves during this expedition to soul, so that we can move to the other side of the cave. Now, the other thing I will say is, and I'll probably have to repeat this a lot, is we're just going to go through the signs. And at the end, though, anybody who comes on later, or if you miss one, there is the printable on the class site. So you'll have our notes right there, and you can always watch this on a replay. The moon sign chat, I try to keep in a container, because it quickly becomes this very big
astrological discussion.
Yeah, that could take like hours. So we try to keep it under 1 hour. All right, so let's talk about our emotional self and start at the top. And again, we're going to use the same keywords that are on your printable, so you can look them up yourself too. You don't need to worry about writing all this down or like, oh my goodness, what'd they say? You can pull it up on the internet and you can copy it down or print it out, whatever you want to do. So Aries is our first sign. It's a fire sign. Yes. So Anna, give me the goods on an Aries moon.
Yes. So an Aries moon is somebody who, when they are feeling like hurt or feeling like they need to defend themselves or having, an emotional distressing time, an Aries moon might be somebody, instead of getting upset or overwhelmed or talking it out, might be somebody who gets mad because they're sad. So they don't know how to evaluate those emotions or let other people know that they're hurting in a way that is receptive. But they might get mad and defensive because they don't understand how to communicate that hurt. So they'll act like an animal, maybe backed into a corner,
My progressed moon is in Aries right now, and that speaks to me. That really speaks to me. That's one of the things that is actually in our astrology class, progressed moons and charts and things. And Emily, yesterday, who we were talking to, one of our magical mentors, that's the class that she's really studying hard in right now. So anyway, it's a whole other thing, your progressed moon. It's a whole other discussion. But anyway, I get that for sure. So, and like just defending yourself at all costs.
Right.
That's an Aries.
Right. There's not a lot of like emotional receptivity there. If like somebody's trying to say, well, you hurt my feelings too, an Aries moon may at first always go to the defensive and try, and it would be a little harder for them to understand like how to meet in the middle. It's not saying that they could not, but I'm just saying that their initial gut instinct would be to be defensive or to yell because they're upset, or to get angry even though they're hurting. It's showing as frustration and anger.
I feel what like is that there's face? A spotlight on my head right now is what I feel because that so speaks to me. Okay, so that's Aries is a fire sign, and a moon is associated with the element of water too. Okay. So you can think about water when heat's applied. What's it do? It boils. Yeah. So yeah, that's an Aries moon for you. So on this expedition to Seoul, you might find that like if you're an Aries moon and you find some like you're trying so hard to set aside the time and people aren't letting you do it, or things get in the way and you're like getting mad about it, and you're like, I'm just not gonna do it, I'm so angry, that's part of that cave we have to move through. Chris, you can find your moon sign. You can just search online for any free birth chart generator if you don't know your moon sign.
I put a link to on the day 5 thread of a site that is easy to use.
Yep. A lot of people like astro.com or Cafe Astrology, I think is what it is, but astro.com, and you just type in all your birth information and it'll pop up with your moon sign. Yeah. Okay, so Taurus, that's an earth.
Yes.
An earth sign. What's a Taurus moon going on?
Yes, a Taurus, in its essence, likes to be surrounded by comforting and beautiful things. So when a Taurus is in a place where they're trying to protect themselves emotionally or have an emotional outlet, a Taurus may be somebody who really needs to have like dim lights in their house, or candles going, or fluffy pillows and a blanket, or their favorite sweatshirt, or maybe even a bowl of like their favorite comfort food. So like pasta or pizza or something, but somebody who may like go and surround themselves with things that they really love to make them feel secure and nurtured, to help them regain their stability, because that's the important thing with Taurus, is to be stable in their emotions, and they like to find things that support them in that in order to do that.
Yeah. So not the anger.
Not the anger. You may even find somebody here that when they're really upset, they may go out shopping, or
I can see that.
Or buying themselves a new shirt or some new pair of pants because it makes them feel better about themselves when they're in a space where they're feeling not emotionally supported. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Gemini is our first air sign on the list.
Yes. So Geminis are the they're the talkative ones of the zodiac. So in the moon sign, somebody in Gemini may really want to get to the bottom of things, but they also may be really quick to change like how they are. Like, so they may at first be very Aries-like in the fact that they may have a lot to say and sound very angry, but then switch really quickly and start to cry because you really hurt their feelings. So they're going to try to get as much of their emotions out through words as possible, and it may be a little bit of a roller coaster as to where it lands, but they're going to try really hard to express themselves, and they're not going to stop until they actually feel like they've expressed it.
So Gemini moons, if you're feeling some stuff, you might need some friends to talk to this week. Use our community and talk to them. Let's see here. Cancer moon. So Cancer, the sun or the moon is right at home in Cancer. It loves Cancer. It's watery and super watery.
It's watery and super
watery,
says Sarah. So Cancer moons, see, the moon does. That's like where the moon is most at home in Cancer. The thing about having a Cancer moon sometimes, though, is that you're so worried about supporting other people emotionally that you forget to care about yourself emotionally. So if you are having hard times at home or something with a family or a significant other and you're a Cancer moon, you may be trying so hard to hold compassion for other people that you forget to hold compassion for yourselves, because they just so much want to care for and nurture the people around them and make sure they're okay, that they forget to take care of themselves. So you sometimes can see a Cancer withdrawing or becoming, again, a little bit defensive. You think of Cancer and you think of the crab, that is hard-shelled but like soft on the inside, easily breakable, that the Cancer needs to make sure that they allow themselves to have space, and not just worry and deplete themselves on other people's problems.
Yeah, so in terms of this being our dark cave here, if you found yourself like maybe in this quest you're learning a lot, but you're maybe finding yourself like applying it to other people, like you're like, oh, this is so relevant to my friend, my coworker, my spouse, my child, whatever, and you're like deflecting but you're caring for others instead of caring for yourself. That could be the cave you need to move through. Like, eyes on you, eyes on your own paper. Stop looking at other people's. My husband always tells me that, eyes on your own paper, when we're like not doing anything in particular, like making a grocery list. He'll be like, eyes on your own paper. It drives me crazy. Yes. But that's totally true. Eyes on your own paper. And if you're a Cancer moon, and stop worrying about the other people.
Yes.
Leo, we're back up to another fire sign.
Yes. So Leo is most at home in the sun. So the sun is its main, home. So in the moon there, so Lego, because I was going to say ego, Lego, Lego. So Leos, very often are shown to have this very large ego, and ego is not a bad word. Ego just means like a wide sense of self and a big presence. And when you have a moon in Leo and if you're not feeling like you're not being seen the way that you want to be seen, or other people aren't, what's the word I'm looking for? Aren't perceiving you as being what you want to be seen as, the Leo moon will feel like, will have like moments of insecurity, self-conscious behavior, because they want to be seen as everything they're meant to be. So it can be really hard if you're a Leo and you're down and out and you're feeling like other people aren't seeing you for what you want to be seen as. You can start to be really hard on yourself. And it can be hard to get out of that because you want to be seen as your ego self more, which is important for the Leo.
True story.
A good thing for a Leo.
You keep doing it.
A Leo that might help a Leo in a funk would be like maybe going out and getting their hair done, or going to like a spa day or something that really makes them feel good from the inside out, or like a reflective like a way to see themselves differently by taking care of themselves. I
feel like something like this expedition to Soul might be particularly difficult for a Leo because
you're having to really look at
in like within, not like without.
Right.
Without, not out. That doesn't make sense. Not out. You're having to really look within, which really is like, it has nothing to do with how other people perceive you. It's all how you perceive yourself.
Right.
So that this might be like a big deal for a Leo.
Because a lot of times, isn't it true that other people perceive us much differently than we perceive ourselves?
Yes.
So a lot of times we're being really hard on ourselves, especially somebody who has a Leo moon or something, maybe especially hard on themselves when they feel like people aren't receiving them the way that they meant for them to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, a Virgo moon.
A Virgo moon. So a Virgo moon is somebody who, to feel really nurtured and supported, needs to have a lot of like personal space and small amounts of clutter. Like they need to have some organizations, some to-do lists, and they need other people to respect their type of organization. Now that's a loose statement because some Virgos are messy, but they always have to have like their keys and their coat and their purse in the same spot. And then some Virgos need like everything to always be in the right spot. But for them to feel emotionally supported is they need people to respect that about them. And also the fact that they need to take a lot of time for self-care with themselves and checking in, because Virgos are kind of one of the workhorses in the zodiac, and they need to sometimes they forget to take care of themselves, again, because they're putting so much outward, whereas Cancer puts a lot of outward emotional help. Virgo puts a lot of emotional, like, physical support to help somebody. So a Virgo moon is somebody that needs to make sure that other people are respecting their boundaries and their space for what they need.
So for our journey here, a Virgo moon probably would have really benefited from having their quest pack ready to go from the beginning with like all their things in the right place and you know exactly where it is, so it's not frustrating when the time comes.
Right.
So having all the stuff in order, knowing the plan, like knowing what times everything was going to be would have probably been very helpful to a Virgo moon who was trying to loosen up to do this reflective work, like needing to know the details in order to get there.
Right. Loosening up. That's a good word for them, Kat. Because if they're like, yes, I'm going out to go sit underneath my favorite apple tree to journal at 2:00 today, but then like the kid wakes up from their nap early or their husband comes home and like wants a snack or something, that Virgo moon might be like, but I had plans for myself today. But the hard thing about that is a Virgo moon may now accommodate the change, but take it really hardly on themselves that they weren't able to commit to what they had planned for themselves.
Right.
But then they don't always share that with other people because they're so busy trying to make sure that everybody else is happy.
And this is all part of that cave. Like, are we going to see this and acknowledge it and do what we need to do anyway? Or are we going to get stuck up on our stuff?
Virgo moons, and Virgos in general, have a hard time finding their voice. And it's important to support themselves in that.
All right, Libra.
So
next, air.
Yes. So a Libra moon is somebody who is definitely going to want to find where they're feeling emotionally imbalanced and then meet the person where they're feeling that with in the middle. They're going to want to figure out like how I can give some of my energy and you can give me some of your energy and we can balance this out, like mutual receptivity. But a Libra moon, when somebody's not working to balance, then that's when they become more upset and might find a more erratic Libra because they're not being supported in that balancing act of what is fair and what's diplomatic and what they believe is supposed to happen. Right. And usually Libras are pretty genuine about the fairness that they seek. It's just when they're underhanded, they're being treated underhandedly, that you can see that it becomes more emotional with words and speaking, because again we have an air sign, somebody that might become combative in their communication if you're not letting them speak or meeting them in the middle.
Libra, for some reason it's like the one sign in the zodiac, like every sign has something where I'm like, oh, this, and then I hear Libra though and I'm just like, they just want to be treated fairly. They just want people to be treated fairly. Like, it feels like such a level.
Yeah. Well, we talk about this in Exposition Astrology because I talked about the story in the stars and how Libra originally wasn't even really like a constellation on its own. It was connected to the sign of Virgo. And so it's kind of like that not weird, but that independent sign that's like that. As long as things are cool, the Libra's pretty cool. You know, like they're pretty level-headed as long as they feel like things are going okay. And it doesn't even have to be all things. Like if home's going really well and work's bad, they're okay. But if like both things are bad, they're not okay.
Skylar's a Libra rising. It's my daughter. She's feisty.
Yeah, and Jacob's a Gemini moon. And if you kind of think about those like two things and their behaviors together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. Scorpio is our next moon sign. Now, that's like what I was saying, that each one you have this little bit of like, ooh, like a Scorpio moon definitely is like, ooh.
I know. I'm a Scorpio rising, and people are always like, you? And they get like nervous. So a Scorpio moon is somebody who, if a Scorpio moon, if they really trust you and have really opened up to you, a Scorpio moon can be very raw and very, like, let you know all the things about them. You know, not very guarded. It could become a very huge, intimate, deep connection with a Scorpio moon that really feels like it's being received emotionally well. A Scorpio moon that's not, or a Scorpio moon that's been hurt, or somebody's, like, turned on them, or they feel like they've been turned on. A Scorpio moon is somebody that will let that person for sure have it. You think about Scorpio and that tail. And if you've heard the story about the frog and the scorpion, that the frog's trying to swim across the river and the scorpion asks for a ride, and the frog's like, no, you'll sting me. And the scorpion's like, no, we both need to survive to get across the river. I can't sting you because then we'll both drown. And the frog's like, oh, good point. And then the scorpion gets on, and halfway through the scorpion stings him, and the frog's like, why did you do that? And the scorpion goes, it's in my nature. And they both drowned together. But just because, like, sometimes...
Sad story.
It's a sad story, but that, I mean, like, that's the thing with Scorpio, that even they may let somebody in that moon sign, let somebody really in, and something could happen that may be big or small, and that Scorpion can feel really wounded. And when they are feeling really wounded, they may be apt to want to wound back.
What does our brother has 5 planets in Scorpio or 6?
Like a lot, like 6, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a lot.
Yep.
Yep. So, like, if he's hurting, everybody hurts.
Yes.
Like,
yes. There's no, it's quite obvious when he's
even if it has nothing to do with anybody
hurting
in the family. If he's hurting, everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just looking at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sagittarius.
Yes. So,
moon. Our mom's a Sagittarius moon.
our mom's a Sagittarius, a lot of things.
She's Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising.
Yes. So,
She's a fun person.
She is fun. Unless, when she's hurting, then you see that.
Then you're like...
So a Sagittarius moon, and that's probably amplified due to all the rest of her Sagittarius, but a Sagittarius moon is somebody who needs a lot of freedom. And not even just physical freedom, but like emotional freedom. This is somebody that needs space to be themselves, space to feel who they are, and when they are inhibited in having their space, they may run away. And that may be run away like very far, or run away for a coffee break for an hour by themselves. But a Sagittarius is somebody who needs free reign to do what they need to on an independent level. You cannot rein in a Sagittarius moon's independence, or they will feel like they're being emotionally shortchanged.
Yeah, that's... Just yesterday, our mom was having a discussion, and, like, we won't go into that because it's her private discussion, but a lot of it centered around, like, just being free. Like, she just wants to be her to do what she wants to do. Mm-hmm. And then I was listening, and I was kind of like, but you're always a mom. You're always a wife. You always will have a job. Like, that is... You don't just get to go around.
You just don't get to go away.
You don't just get to be you, unfortunately.
Well, I mean.
Like, I guess you can. But, like, it was so funny. But listening to her, that was like Sagittarius moon right
this is a
there.
whole lot of Sag.
Like exclamation point on Sagittarius.
Yeah. It's a need for independent freedom, emotionally and physically. Yeah.
Yeah. I have 5 planets in Sagittarius, not the moon, though. Nope.
No, but you have that strain of, like, needing to get out of the house. Even if it's just to go outside for, like, an hour. Like, if you stay in your house too long, you feel like all of a sudden you have no life. And you need to, like, break free of that.
No, I've been in the house all day, I think. All day yesterday I was in the house. Most of Sunday, if not all day Sunday. And today I am so on edge. Like, I... need to bust out of this popsicle stand, and there's an ice storm outside, so I can't go anywhere. And
I mean, I came to you. You can come to me.
Today's been a lot of deep breaths for me. I'm feeling very claustrophobic for sure.
We can take turns visiting each other on this day.
I know. Anna lives literally a 15-second drive from my house. For those of you who don't know us well, who are new here, Anna, my sister, I can throw a rock at her house probably. Maybe not, because there's a bend.
There's a hill.
And there's a hill. But
and
if I was good, maybe. I'm not that good. All right.
Don't hit the geese with your rocks.
A Capricorn moon. Our dad's a Capricorn moon.
I'm a Capricorn moon.
Perfect.
Did you forget that I was a Capricorn moon?
No,
when you
I knew
said
that.
Dad's a
Because
Capricorn
particularly, I
moon?
saw you write it in the comment this morning.
What's
that you're a Capricorn moon.
interesting is that
But he's barely a Capricorn moon. I pegged him for a Sag, and without the time difference, if he was Eastern time, he'd be a Sagittarius moon. But because the 1 hour time difference, he's a Capricorn moon.
What's interesting is that a lot of times children reflect a lot of the signs in their sun, moon, and rising as their parents. So Dad's a
Libra. I'm pretty sure.
Rising sign.
I don't know. Adam's a Sagittarius rising, my son.
Right. But like mom's a Sagittarius sun and a Sagittarius moon, and you're a Sagittarius sun.
And I'm a Cancer rising. My daughter's a Cancer sun.
Right. I have a Capricorn moon. Obviously, Dad does. When I'm a Scorpio rising, my son's a Scorpio. He's an Aquarius rising. His father's an Aquarius. So you seem to have this level of connection with your family, which makes it so much more fun to be around them.
Yes. Yes.
So our Capricorn moon. So this is the one sign in the zodiac that the moon is least at home in. This is what we would call it's in detriment. So this is the one sign that the moon does not enjoy being in. This sign doesn't like it. The moon doesn't like it. It is a Capricorn moon. You're in good company. Hello, friends. So a Capricorn moon is somebody who is really good at having emotional walls and barriers. This is somebody who's really good at being like, I like you today, I do not like you tomorrow, and there's not a lot of room to wiggle there. There's not a lot of give unless this Capricorn is really woke and knows how to like take down those walls. But a lot of times they don't, and they're very easily shut down.
It's your subconscious.
And off. Yes. So like for me, for instance, when there's a lot happening to me emotionally, I'm more likely to shut down and say nothing. It's like talking to that said brick wall. Like I put it on my face and I just sit there and I look at you and I'm a little bit crying on the inside typically, but it takes a lot for me to really cry outwardly. But because the Capricorn is so strict and stern and so focused on being an achiever and being somebody who gets the job done and being like a leader into things, that when they're feeling emotionally, they don't want to feel emotionally anything. They don't want to be sad. They don't want to feel hurt. So instead they feel nothing.
Okay then.
Capricorn moon.
Feel the
I
nothing.
speak from experience.
I speak for the trees.
Well, they don't feel nothing. That's kind of wrong. They probably
'cause
feel
you
a
do
lot,
feel.
but they don't want people to see how badly they're hurting. Yes.
All right, an Aquarius moon. I'm an Aquarius moon.
Yeah.
My needle.
I just, as you said that, I was looking at your printout, putting others in front, cool emotional detachment. Because Sarah often does care about how other people are feeling.
Yes.
And she'll honor it really quickly, and then she'll coolly detach from that emotional
I am the queen of
outpour.
cool emotional
Yeah,
detachment.
Sarah, you'll tell Sarah, like, Sarah, I'm really hurting. I'm having a really rough day. And Sarah will be like, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. Anyway, but she'll, like, stop for a second and look at you and be like, I understand that hurts. That must be really hard. I want tacos for dinner. And then you're kind of like...
I know. Well, no, I think that in terms of, like, the subconscious emotional reaction, for me, is I tend to put, I always will do for somebody else, but in a cool, detached way. It's never like you have those people that will give your shirt off your back and you're like, that person's so kind, so caring. That's not how I am perceived, but I will, to a fault, like make sure other people are taken care of in a larger way. Like make sure everybody else has enough to eat, everybody else has the time and space they need, and then I will be coolly detached and mad at them because I don't have those same things.
Right.
But it's me not looking out for me. It's me doing that and then being ticked off that I didn't get the same. So I don't have that, like, it's not that doing for others before myself, like in a chase down someone's lost puppy way. It's like like I will overarchingly care for people, which is probably also my Cancer rising.
I was going to say, that's a little bit of your
That's
Cancer
my Cancer
rising
rising,
as well.
yeah. And then my moon sign, though, that Aquarius moon, gets pissed because I'm like, but I'm not getting the same thing in return.
Yeah. But an Aquarius moon may not say that.
Coolly detach. No, I just say nothing.
Right. They might be
detach.
like if somebody's like, did I hurt your feelings? An Aquarius moon might be like, no.
That's exactly what I do.
But like obviously in their answer, they would be kind of saying yes, but they'd be like, no.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Whatever. I don't need your help.
No, I'm mad because I just don't answer text messages for like 24 hours.
But what's funny, because it's not always mad at me.
No, it's just mad.
It's just mad that I'm like...
And she'll be like, what'd I do? Why aren't you speaking to me?
I've gotten better at asking, like, why.
You have. And I'm like, I just don't have the bandwidth to respond to humans right now. So I'm not humaning today.
This is what's interesting, because, like, as you've heard Sarah and I have our banter, we're also exploring, after you can get through, like Sarah said, your own cave and realizing your own moon sign and your own default emotional behavior, you can start evaluating it with the people around you and see what they need. So both Sarah and I, if we're upset, we stop texting. Like, it's just, or stop speaking. And we both, I think at that point, know that, like, it's break time.
Yeah.
You know, like, or we were just talking about, like, our kids. Like, you can start to really evaluate how these relationships are playing out and how to hold them in compassionate hands to the best of your ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very true. Yes, very true.
Pisces.
And when we just see these things about ourselves and we see them happening and we're aware of it and we're like, that's what I'm doing right now and I need to not do that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, Pisces, that's our last one.
Pisces.
That's another one of those, I think of like Scorpio moon and Pisces moon, and I'm always like, you must be a very interesting human.
Yes. So Pisces moons are, if you think of Pisces and that zodiac sign, it's like the pool of fish, really. It's like this connection between you and somebody else. I believe like Greek mythology speaking, it's Aphrodite and Eros. They turn into fish while trying to escape from Typhoon's rage, and it's that connection that's deeply wound, that like energetic cord. And Aphrodite and Eros are mother and son, but it's this energetic cord that you're tied to with people. And in life, they talk about when you meet people and you get to know people, you have like these energetic cords that attach you to people. A Pisces like really feels that, and they submerge themselves into that. So like they can almost like feel the cords that connect them to everybody, and because of that, they can get really caught in other people's emotions and take on other people's emotions, and it's hard to break free of that because they're so in it. It's like water. They're so in that pool. It's hard to come out of. And you also find with a Pisces moon, those really intuitive people.
I was gonna say, those are the people that get that. If you're gonna put like, what did we do for our last free astrology series? We did this thing, astrology camp, and we did on the last day most likely to like yearbook thing, like which sign would be most likely to do what. And I think Pisces was most likely to be a psychic, was what we did. Most likely to be your psychic intuitive.
Yeah, and on like the severe scale of that too, Pisces, because you are kind of getting submerged in so much that sometimes it's hard to sort through it. Depending, obviously, this is not true for all moon in Pisces, but the Pisces moon would be the most likely somebody to like self-medicate to get out of that feeling of emotions. Because they're just so stuck in it that they like are trying to find ways to not absorb it.
Yeah.
So that Pisces moon can get really lost in that. But yeah, they're most likely to be very in touch with other people's emotions and can be highly intuitive.
Yeah, for sure. Our Aunt Brenda's a Pisces moon. And
we've learned so much about her, I guess, in these past couple
Aunt
years.
Brenda is very, very
psychic.
Yeah, not even psychic. She's like, I don't know. I bet if she was practiced, she would be a darn good medium.
Right.
Darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many stories. So many of like those chills up your spine stories we can tell of her that we will not spend your time listening, but they're good.
Yeah.
They're really good. You're like, what?
Yeah. Who knew? But they've kept it like in the closet for so long that like now we're like,
I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool stuff. We discovered, we've been really like looking at we have been for the last few years, but particularly like in the last year, distant relatives that aren't in our direct, like that we see every day, really interested in looking at people's birth charts. And my grandmother is an Aquarius moon, I'm an Aquarius moon, and my husband's an Aquarius moon, which is always really interesting when we're all like fighting to be heard in a conversation. Not that we fight, but like when we're all trying to share an experience.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And we're all fire signs too.
I was gonna say, and you're all fire signs.
Yeah, I'm the Sag. My husband's an Aries. My grandma's a Leo.
Yes, she is.
So all three of us together is just kind of like,
she is.
who's gonna win this battle?
A Leo for sure.
I know. We joke that my husband would be the one to burn the room down before he lost, and my grandmother would be the one left standing, being prideful, and I'd be the one that was like, I'm gonna go get a coffee. This is too much. My Sagittarius needs to move.
And I'd be sitting there trying to put out the fire and making sure everybody's hair didn't catch on fire and trying to like build the floor back together.
I'd be like, I just want it to stop.
I'd be trying to give you guys all like a little fireproof hut. I'd probably go down with the house while I was trying to safeguard all you guys.
I would definitely be like, I'm too good for this. I'm leaving. That's how my Sagittarius self wouldn't just flee. It would be from I'm too good for this. I'm going to flee.
You guys would burn down the house, and you guys would all escape, and I would be in the house.
You're trying to find water. You will. Anyway, so that is your moon sign. So that's day 5. If you came in late, don't worry. Go to the little class page that's in your email link, and you can find the keywords and listen back to this. I shared in our holistic witchery class, because there's so many videos in our classes, that if you listen on a computer and you use the Chrome browser, you can download a thing for your browser, a plugin or whatever it's called, and you can listen to all of your videos on 2 times speed, which really, like,
you love that.
Yeah, I will not listen to a video if I can't listen to it on 2 times speed. Sagittarius stellium over here. So anyway, you can get that, listen back, skip forward to where your moon sign is, and hear what we talked about. But the idea is this is your subconscious self, right? This is the thing that is going to stop you in your tracks from moving forward and really learning the lesson that needs to be learned in a moment for you, because you just want to let that emotion out. And that emotion, while it's good to let out, we need to let emotion out. That emotion can also be the thing that holds you back. If you don't see it for what it is, experience it, let it go, and then continue on. Many of us will let that thing be the thing that stops us in our tracks and be like, well, it didn't work out. And now I'm not going to do it.
Well, you'll find that you'll get the most healing and you'll learn more about yourself when you're able to do what your moon sign doesn't want to do. Like Sarah was saying, when Sarah actually tells you what's wrong with her, Sarah gets the most reaction, Or me, when I decide to, like, feel things and allow myself to feel things, and that's not even just when I'm hurt, it's just feeling things in general, then I know what it is that I really want, or what I'm really, like, expecting to happen, or what I really need. But if we can't do those things, then that's when we start to see that we become more detached from people, or we forget how to take care of ourselves, or we forget how to, hug somebody when they need to. It's because we've so unnurtured our moon signs that we forget how to be compassionate with ourselves and with other people.
True story. So head into your cave, and if you had anything trip you up over the last few days and you felt like, oh, this just isn't working, whatever, investigate your moon sign a little bit and see what comes out the other end for you. Yeah. And you can find, like we said, your moon sign. You can go to astro.com, put in all your birth information, and find your moon sign. If you don't know your time of birth, you can go online and check what sign the moon was in the day you were born. So the moon moves pretty quickly. And I would say it's probably, like, if you don't know the time, a 50-50 shot of you getting your exact moon sign. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But for example, like, the moon could be in Cancer for an entire day on Tuesday, but then Wednesday it can swap signs. So be in Cancer half the day, and then in Leo half the day, because it's swapped signs. So if you were born in the morning, it could be Cancer, versus if you're born at night, it could be a Leo moon. So if you don't know your exact birth time, you can check the day of your birth and see what the moon did that day. And then if you know, then if you can narrow it down, if it did change, if you can narrow it down, the story goes you were born
lunchtime.
Yeah, like during lunch break, or like first thing in the morning as the sun came up.
Morning
then at
traffic,
least you'll know.
Traffic.
Yeah, then at least you'll know a better idea. So if you don't know your exact time, you definitely want to check the day and see what's going on for you. So I love that you guys are sharing in the comments. And yeah, so some of you are sharing about your sun and your moon too. And astrology is such a broad topic, so we're not going to obviously get into all of these things. But
it's not one size fits all.
No, and I think, like I said, it's a puzzle. So if it doesn't, if we talked about a sign, it didn't sound like you, then just know that there could be other things happening. So when I explain kind of my story and I look at how I act as an Aquarius, and how my rising sign definitely plays into that, but then how my progressed moon is also impacting how I emotionally sort of freak out as well, So Hillary says, have you ever met two people with all the same signs? I mean, we've seen lots of birth charts, particularly in all of our astrology classes online. And
they can be close. I mean, like if you're, your rising sign dictates what signs in each house is. So, like, I just pulled up, like, an imaginary chart for our exhibition astrology class, and I just typed in a time, a date, and a place, like, random, and the person in that chart had, 80% things similar with me, and I was like, I just, pulled a chart for myself. But even twins don't have exactly the same things either, because they're not born at exactly the same time, and things can change in a chart depending in no time, really. So I've never seen any chart that was exactly the same.
And that too, you could have
and a lot of the big planets too are generational, so a lot of people will have planets in the same signs but in different parts of their chart, so
different houses. Right. So that would be the other part that plays in there, because your planet can be in a sign, but then the houses could still be different. Completely different. Yeah. Exactly. There's so many pieces to this giant puzzle. But your moon sign, and I think the moon sign is one that's really the moon and the rising sign, I think, and the more I learn about astrology, the more I really just don't understand why all the focus has always been on sun signs. Really. I mean, besides that other, that's just your obvious stuff, but your rising sign, I mean, it's just who you friggin' are. And then your moon sign, how you're acting emotionally, I feel like is so much more important than the world you're creating around you, because your emotions tend to be kind of like the make or break thing. How are you going to handle a moment?
Well, you can see, in me, that, I can be really closed off and I can shut down, but you can also see I'm a Scorpio rising, and you can also see when I'm pushed to the edge and my Capricorn more, I become very Scorpio in my reactions. So everything in a chart plays off of each other, and they're all, different. And when we think about our emotions and stuff, without getting into a big astrology chat, when we think about our emotions, a lot of times we compare those to how we're feeling in our relationships, but that's a whole different house in your chart. So I feel emotionally supported in relationships, not exactly the way that my moon sign dictates that I do. So there's a lot to play, and so there's kind of room to groove. And sometimes even too, if you're not feeling like your moon is sounding right to you, it may be because it's a very subconscious thing. If you think about tarot, the sun and the moon is about secrets, what's subconscious, what's hidden, what you're not sure of, and the sun is what's in front of you, what you know, what you're looking forward to. So sometimes our moon sign can be a part of us that we really are detached from, because it's not a comfort zone. If that makes sense.
Yes, my moon and my Jupiter are in the same house, right? In my 8th house, I think, isn't that other people's money? Right? Yeah. And I do like to take care of other people by buying them things, which makes a lot of sense when you put those puzzle pieces together. So anyway, lots and lots and lots and lots of layers to astrology, and to your moon sign, and to this dark cave we're walking through. But as you heard us just even process parts about us, it can really help you be whoa, no wonder, X, Y, and Z is happening, and no wonder I need to work on these things right now. Because of that.
For sure.
Stankin' moon sign.
Moon signs.
Moon signs. All right, so check yours out. Share with us over in the groups. Tomorrow is day 6. And I think that is it. We have another chat on Thursday. And then Sunday, we have another class. Speaking of the moon, we have kind of a lunar theme. We have a class on Sunday. Is Sunday lunar throughout history, right? Yeah, I think we're talking about working with the moon throughout history. So myths and facts and things, because the moon is such a hot topic. And we always hear about full moons. In the first half of next year, we have all these super moons and partial eclipses. We have a blue moon right on Halloween next year, which is really cool. Lots of amazing stuff. And yes, we're going to talk about lunar practices throughout history on Sunday is another class we're doing. And then the following weekend, a week away, or no, not a week away, next Thursday or Friday, I think, next Friday. So a week and a half away after the holiday is we're doing creating a lunar home, which is pretty cool. And we're going to talk some more about moon signs in there. Yeah, some more moon stuff to go. But in the meantime, I think tomorrow, day 6, I challenge you to create a talisman for your journey. And then so 2 more days to go of Expedition to Soul, but then 2 more moon classes following that. So the moon's not going away anytime soon. Nope. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for hanging with us. And thank you, Anna, for driving the 15-second drive in the ice storm to come here.
Yay!
She was going to do it from her house, and then she was here.
Here I am.
Here she is. So you got to see us together, hanging out. All right. We're going to go. Oh, we're on 2 things. We have to end it in both places. All right. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay. Thank you again, guys. All right. Bye.
Bye.